My name is Chris Barragan. I am the Senior Development Director for the Goddard School of Business at Weber State University. I am formerly in healthcare. Previous to Weber State, I worked for Lilly Pharmaceuticals and for some other companies before that. My background is primarily in healthcare and healthcare sales, but I decided to take a career path change and come into fundraising for universities. It's a great question because you think about leaders and I think things come to mind, heads of countries, heads of organizations, heck, even heads of sporting teams. And so when I think of my thought of leadership is someone that we aspire to be or to please. That's what I think about when I think of leadership. And so when I think of my own realm of how can I be a leader, I think it's to give somebody something to hope for, to give somebody something to rally behind. And the way I go about doing it, I guess in that leadership way, is to generate a level of excitement and a sense of worth in that role that they're in, whether it is in work or play or service or whatever it happens to be. Yeah, I think it's obviously when you hear the term leadership and you think of yourself as a leader, I think first and foremost, and probably one of the principles that I try to hold on to, is a sense of modesty and or humility in that role. I don't think that great leaders ever ascend to that position because they're seeking selfish gains. There obviously are selfish leaders, and you can go through history and see that. But I think truly great leaders, especially in our modern time with such transparency, they need to demonstrate a level of humility in the role that they are, and that's for people to look up to them. So that's probably the first thing. The second thing that I think about is that, especially in with regards to me, is I want whomever I'm being called to lead or asked to lead or whatever we want to say, I want them to know that there's a level of love that I have for them. And I think that's the thing, which can be very difficult sometimes because especially in a professional setting, we're required to do things in order to maintain success. And if those people that I have to lead aren't able to do that after a period of time, we need to have those difficult conversations and we need to either end it or correct things. And if I'm not putting out there that sense of love and care for that person, I don't think that I can do a good job leading that individual. Look towards it. The first of which was a man by the name of Jim Mooney. He was a district manager for Lilly Pharmaceuticals, and I worked under him for about 4 years. What I appreciated about him was the fact that he did care. He cared about us as individuals. He took the time to know where our frustrations were, and he was also there and ready to guide us and train us. And you knew he was all in. And so he was an easy person to say, I want to follow that individual. I really want to care about what we're doing here because I don't want to make that guy look bad at the end of the day. He was probably the hardest manager that I ever had. He was very dedicated to what we needed to do, but he prepared me. He prepared me for future managers that I had and people that I may have to manage someday. So I really appreciated that. Person I think has always been one that has been vital in my development is a man by the name of Greg Madsen. And he was a young men's president in my church early on when I joined the LDS church, and had become a mentor for me throughout my life. He's a consultant on organizational behavior. He's taught at Stanford, taught at BYU, taught at Harvard, and presented on different things with organizational behavior. But first and foremost, he was somebody that you aspired to be like.